All right, we're having to do this one again because for I messed up in first block, and all it was 25 minutes of my face. I didn't get the screen, so that would be fun. Don't forget hit like and subscribe with the bell. All right, completing the square. This is not my favorite method. This is where me and the upper level math teachers in this building will differ. They believe that everybody that walks through the doors of this building is going to end up in their classes. I tell them they're wrong. Okay? They're like, well, when they get to Cal B, they're going to need this. I'm like, not every kid's going to go to Cal B. Okay? So I'm going to step through this. Okay? I don't expect you to totally understand it at all. I have taught this method for multiple years. In those multiple, when I mean multiple years, I'm like, of the 20 years, at least 10 of them, I've only had two students use this method out of thousands. Okay, so that's a very low percentage. All right. So I don't expect y'all to use it. We're only going to do this example and number one, and then we're going to move on to something that actually will mean something to us. Okay. Case in point, um, like I asked my dad, who was a project manager, had $1 million projects at Ascend in Decatur. I said, "Did you ever complete the square?" He said, "Yeah." He says, "I had to finish a drawing." I said, "No, did you do?" He says, "I don't know what you're talking about." Okay, made six figures, never did this. Okay, so all right. So I mean, he did this math at one point in time. I don't know. He was old. They probably wrote his dinosaur. So when you do this, you have to get like all these terms by themselves. So you would have to subtract one. Okay. Now, as we go through this, you cannot sit there and tell me as we go through this that whoever discovered this was not on some type of drugs. I don't know how you come up with this without being on some type of drugs. Okay? If you so what they said then is that you take half of the b value or the b value, divide it by 2 and square it, and you add it to this side of the equation and this side. That just seems like a logical thing that you would do to any just just out of nowhere. All right. So let's see. 8 divided by 2, that's 4, and then 4 squared is 16. Okay. So, but I'm going to keep this like this, and then over here I'm going to say this is 16. The reason I'm going to keep this on the left hand side, it's going to clean up nicely later. Okay, so we can get through this. All right. If you are sitting here like what the, it's okay. All right. Then over here, somehow in magical math land, this turns, well, it does factor in, it turns into this. Okay. And then on the right side, what is 9 plus 16? It's a number that's funnier than 24. Okay, very good. We don't know how to add, but we do know how to actually quote something from SpongeBob. Awesome. So, now, like we were doing yesterday, we were taking the square root. All right. 25 does have a perfect square, or is a perfect square. It's 5. All right, so we are going to have a version where it's negative 4 plus 5, which is 1, negative 4 minus 5, which is negative 9. Okay. Um, Now, again, does it make sense? And you're like, luckily, y'all's notes you're just filling in. Okay. Um, but so, um, look, the look, these notes are exactly what I cleaned up from 2020. Okay, that year 2020, 2021, my son was actually in algebra 1 class. That was during the COVID year. Okay, and he was sitting in class. That's when we were all in our little COVID proof glass shields with our mask, and because, it was scary. And he texted me from the back corner of the room where he was placed and said, "What the crap is this?" Yeah, he never talked to me in class. He only texted me. I said, "Don't worry about it." Okay. I have to show you this method. I don't have to test you on it. Okay. So we're going to do this one, and we are going to be done with completing the square. Everybody got it? Yes. This. All right. Look, I would rather be in a 15-hour long car ride with no music with my ex-wife than have to do this method. Okay. All right. So we're going to move this 64 over. All right. So we know that's going to be here. Trust me, when I learned, even my math teacher in high school said, all right, and this was like before the internet. Thank you for laughing. It was funny. I appreciate that. All right. So what is half of negative 10? Negative 5. Okay. So we're going to add that squared. And we could do that over here, but we know that negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So we're going to say, or well, actually, let's do the same thing right here. So we're not super confused, only mildly. Okay. And then we have 64, 25. All right, so magical math land, negative 5 goes here. And this becomes 89. Shh, hey, that just, y'all, I don't know why we're just all just spontaneously talking. Some people are just talking to themselves. All right, so we take the square root. Luckily, trust me, the torture is almost done. When we take the square root of 89, it's just square root of 89. So x minus. Who's ever moaning and groaning, you may need to go to the doctor, or you may need to add some roughage to your diet. You may be hung up more than a bulldog on a log chain. Okay? So or you may need to go be checked for your Tourette's again. Okay, so now that's it. That's all we're looking at with this. Okay, if you understand it, not so bad. But I've sat in math department meetings. I've sat in math department meetings in this building and the school district. Everybody's like, this is an important method. And I say it and I look directly in their face. I'm like, no, it's not. They're like, why? I said, all right, what is the big thing that our school system loves to brag about? AP test and ACT scores. Okay? So on the ACT, it says solve this. You have 60 problems in 60 minutes. Are you going to waste your time doing a long process or a short process? The path of least resistance. Students aren't going to do this if they don't like it. Okay? All right. Flip over to the back. So, now, after we get finished with this, I will show you the most Caucasian thing on the internet. Now, so here is our quadratic formula. There is a way to derive that. I am not going to make you do it. Okay? So, this up underneath the square root is called the discriminant. That is where we're going to start first. The discriminant, the reason why it's called that, it discriminates to how many roots we have. We're either going to have 2, 1, or none. Bless you. Man, our long distance love dedication may have to go to another couple today. All right. All right. So our A value is 3. Now, let's put our A value in our equation where it's supposed to go. Our B value is 5. Let's put that in here. Our C value is 1. It's supposed to be blue. All right. Now, luckily for y'all, on our notes, somebody has made this nice formula parentheses. All you have to do is plug it in. In the future, you're kind of on your own. Okay? But it's not that bad. All right. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to start right there in the discriminant. We're going to type it into the calculator as it is written. When I type it in, I get 13. That's everything underneath the square root. Okay? Who's ever trying to sound like the penguin? Please stop. Jalen, stop. All right, now we need to clean up the rest of it. Okay, what is negative times 5? Negative 5. Okay, still have your calculator in hand because some of y'all still need it. What's 2 times 3? Okay, now let's double check to see if 13 has a square root. So we're going to hit second and the x squared button, type in 13. That's what we get. Guess what? We're actually done. Yeah. So isn't this a lot better than what we did previously? Okay. Now then, I really wish the microphone could hear just the animal noises that these immature 15 and 16-year-olds are making, and they think it's funny. But yeah, I wait for the future. Hopefully, there's a screening process to have people reproduce. Now, uh, so uh, this is it. This is all we have to do. This is why students will choose the path of least resistance. Okay, a lot easier. Now, I want y'all to watch this. Don't write this down. Just watch right first. If you were to try to factor this one, okay, and I'm going to show you why you would use the quadratic formula in this case. Go ahead. Yeah, what's your question? Oh, okay. You just wanted your hand raised? Okay. So, what are the factors of -3 that combine to give us 5? What are the only factors of 3? Okay, there is no way, except in magical number world, that we can get, or if we're doing clock math, even if we're doing clock math, it still won't work with like a base 3, that we can ever get 5. Okay, this is what's called a prime thing. It's not factorable. Okay, so this is when we would definitely use quadratic formula. Okay, and for this class, it's they took out factoring when a is greater than 1. This is, you'll know to use this. Okay, so our a value is 1. Our b is 5. Our c is -3. All right, so now we're going to start again. All right, we get 37. Let's check to see if it has a square root. Let's get that ahead of time. Oh, it does it. All right. What's negative times 5? -5. What's 2 times 1? That's it. So when it's not a perfect square, we stop. If it is a perfect square, we had one example like that yesterday with when we were solving in vertex. I think the next one of these is like that. When we do have a perfect square, we keep going, and it's really not that much more. Okay. Again, love this version much more than just about any other ones. All right. Number 3. All right. Can we go directly to the formula with number 3 as it looks? No. We actually need to move this 4x over. Now, this is the first time we've had to move something that's not the c value. Hey, just put it in the floor like everybody else does. Somebody else will clean it up later. Just put your trash in the floor. Somebody else will clean it up later. No, it doesn't matter. Y'all just do it because, I found about half y'all's gummy wrappers and notes, blank notes and stuff, anyways. All right. That's right. It's those ghosts. Not me and not mine. Squared minus 4, 3, negative 4. All right. 64. Now, that does have a perfect square. All right. Now, what is the square root of 64? 8. Now, if you didn't know that off the top of your head, you would use your calculator. Thank you for calling Mr. Jeffers' room. You're calling number 3 of the day. Well, I'm teaching a lesson so they can hear you, and you're going to be on YouTube. So you're awesome, Miss Washington. Who you need? Yeah, who you need? Awesome. Hey, you know what? You can have about 20 other ones. Oh, I don't want them either, and they don't want to be here. All right, bye. Bye, Makai. All right. So now we have one instance where it's negative 4 plus 8 over 6, and another instance where it's negative 4 minus 8 over 6. Again, we use our friend. Well, the calculator, not our friend in our cheating ring that we use in class on tests, because we like to try to cheat on a test where our teacher lets us use a cheat sheet. All right, and that's it. Yes, yes, that's plus or minus. That's why we did this where I said negative 4 is plus 8 and negative 4 is minus 8, because we have the positive and the negative version of the root, because positive 8 times positive 8 is 64, negative 8 times negative 8 is 64. Yep, yep. All right, believe it or not, that's our lesson. Thank goodness we all made it through this one, even with the Tourette's. Don't forget, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell. Good stuff, good things. Real time.